Football can be a brutal sport. We see it all the time with managers. You can be riding high, doing really well, and then suddenly find yourself out of a job, sometimes without even going on a bad run of form. It's even more brutal for players though. At least managers get a payout. So often players are treated simply as commodities by clubs, when actually these are people's careers we're talking about, and so many of them don't have a happy ending. And today we're going to be looking at one of the quickest and most tragic declines in a player's career in recent history. This is the story of someone who cost his club a place in the Premier League with one kick of the ball just 2 years ago, and has now found himself without a club for the past 6 months at the age of 29. So without further ado, let's get into it. I'm Ryan Dilks from the second tier, and this is the kick that ended the career of Fankaty Dabo. Dabo joined the Chelsea Academy at the age of 12 and spent 12 years there. During that time, the right back had loan spells at Luton Town, Vitesse and Sparta Rotterdam, before moving to Coventry City on a permanent basis in 2019. And this was where Dabo really found his home. After years of being loaned out from club to club, he finally found somewhere to settle and really blossomed as a player. In his first season, he played a starring role as Coventry City, won League One, he played nearly every game, was included in the PFA Team of the Year, and also won Coventry City's Player of the Season. He became a real fan favourite for the Sky Blues. Supporters loved his boundless energy and his constant surges forward. Dabo was only 24 at the time of the promotion as well, so there was a lot of hope for him to keep progressing and grow as a player. He would continue to be a regular for Coventry as they established themselves in the Championship. For 3 seasons, he would play more than half of their games, and Coventry would progress higher and higher up the league under Mark Robins, finishing 16th in the first season, 12th in their second, and reaching the playoffs in their third. And Coventry defied the odds to reach the playoff final. Just 5 years after being in League Two, they were 1 game away from the Premier League, and they were facing Luton Town, another side who had progressed through the leagues. Now, the man at the centre of the story here, Fankaty Dabo, didn't start at Wembley. He'd started to find himself being used less and less often after the arrival of young right-back Brooke Norton-Cuffy on loan from Arsenal. But after 90 minutes, the scores were level at 1-1, and at the start of extra time, on came Dabo as a substitute for Norton-Cuffy. Coventry and Luton still couldn't be separated at the end of extra time, and the game went to a penalty shootout. After 5 penalties each, they still couldn't be separated, and it went to sudden death. Luton scored their first penalty, Coventry scored theirs, Luton scored again, and then up steps Dabo. He runs up and he skies it over the bar. Dabo instantly puts his hands on his head, realising what he's done as the Luton players go flying past, celebrating promotion to the Premier League. But for Dabo, it ended up being a career-defining moment. Just 3 days after that miss, Coventry announced Dabo would be leaving on a free transfer after his contract expired. Now, the odds are that he already knew he was going to be leaving before the playoff final, but for that to be his last contribution in a Coventry City shirt is really unfortunate. And it took him 2 months to find a new club that ended up being Forest Green Rovers down in League Two, which was a significant step down for someone in their mid-20s who had been playing fairly regularly in the Championship. Dabo was a regular starter for them early on, even captaining the team on a few occasions, but results-wise, it wasn't going well. Forest Green lost 14 of their first 23 games and found themselves bottom of League Two at Christmas. It led to manager David Horseman getting the sack. His replacement? Troy Deeney. Now, he had been a player coach at Forest Green since the summer, but it was his first job in management, and let's just say man management didn't seem to be his strong point. Or management in general, actually. Deeney failed to win his first 6 games in charge, and after a loss to Harrogate, publicly criticised his players, calling them babies. But he would single out Fankaty Dabo in particular.
Believe it or not, the game plan was to play down one side, to go out the opposite. So if the ball was at the right back with Dabo, who was poor and awful again, and I've just told him he won't be playing on Tuesday, so he can have that from now.
You say the likes of Dabo wasn't good enough today. Is that something?
Not today. He's not been good enough for about 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks. Why do you think he was dropped at the start? This is the point. And just told him in front of everyone. 6 months ago, that kid had a kick to go to the Premier League. Now he won't get a game in the National League. So is that me or him? It's a simple question. Because he's faster than everybody, and purely ability, but he gets ran every game, he never makes a tackle, and every time the ball comes to him, he looks like he kicks it with his shin pads.
Great way to boost the old confidence there, Troy. Deeney received widespread backlash for the comments from fans, from pundits, and ended up apologising to Dabo. Just a matter of days later, he would be sacked anyway. New manager Steve Cotterill came in, and Dabo would find himself in and out of the team under him, and they couldn't stop Forest Green being relegated out of the Football League. At the end of the season, Dabo would be released following the expiration of his contract. And so the stark reality hit that less than 12 months after that penalty, Dabo had been released by a side who had just been relegated out of League Two. Quite the fall from grace after being just one kick away from the Premier League. Last September, he would join Scottish Championship side Wraith Rovers on a 4-month deal where he would play 9 games before leaving again, and since then Dabo has been without a club since January. It's an incredibly quick decline in a player's career. I can't think of many who have gone from playing regularly in the Championship to the wilderness as quickly as he has, and it all centres around that one kick of a ball. And to this day, it's unfortunately what he's best known for. If you Google his name, the first images that come up are pictures of him looking despondent after missing the penalty. And while Coventry fans will say he was superb for them in that League One winning season, I imagine that it's hard for them not to think of that penalty as the first thing that comes to the mind when his name gets mentioned. But the point of this video today isn't to mock Dabo, it's more to do with what I said at the start, with highlighting just how brutal football can be. Dabo has since spoken about his career after the penalty and has admitted he did fall out of love with football, but since then has learned that it is just football. It's not life or death. In one interview he said, "There's so much more to life. Everyone isn't going to be wealthy enough to retire and never work again. You see a lot of footballers venturing out into different fields and expressing themselves, whether it's fashion or music. When I was younger, I'd see people following that path and would think, what are you doing? You should be focusing on your football. But now I see it in a completely different light. There's more to life than football, because when football ends, or if football doesn't treat you great, then you've got another option." And while he said he of course would love to get back to playing football again, with him still only being 29, it seems like he's very much enjoying spending time with his wife and his son. At the end of last season, he returned to Coventry for the first time since leaving and got a huge ovation from supporters. In that moment, he wasn't being asked about the penalty. He was being celebrated as a great servant for Coventry City. And in time, hopefully that's what he'll be remembered for by supporters. And there we go, a happy ending to a roller coaster of a story. And this has been the kick that ended a player's career. What do you think? Are there any similar examples that you can think of? Let me know in the comments section below. If you've enjoyed the video, make sure you like and subscribe for more content like this. I've been Ryan Dilks from The Second Tier, and a big thank you for watching.